all of our African capitalists to like open their eyes, bro, and realize capitalism won't save you. Mm-hmm. I just pray. I pray all of my suited brothers open their eyes one day and realize that like 3 buttons, 2 buttons, no buttons. You feel me? Putting the suit on is not advocacy. You ain't done nothing all day just because you put a suit on. You know what I mean? It's like the performative shit that like there's this.
Hey everyone, thank you guys so much for your continuous support and thank you for clicking this video. If you'd like to find more ways to support us, please visit our website at goodconvosonly.com where you'll be able to find our merch and all of our podcast episodes. Welcome back to Eat and Talk, everybody. My name is Yusra.
And I'm Gilbert and we're back again with another episode.
So today we got a guest who is currently kind of local but did come a little bit far away, and I'm really excited to have him here today because he's going to be dropping some gems with us and we're just going to be chilling and talking. Farah, I'm going to let him introduce himself. Go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Farah. I am originally from Oakland, California. Living here for a couple of years. I'm an organizer. I do poetry. I just be kicking it. This is going to be a good time. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. First of all, I just want to admire his drip. Like, he came through with the green. Shout out to him.
Let us know who's styling you. Let us know who's styling you.
He just, every time I run into him, he's just like, he just be standing out. Like, I love it. It must be like a Oakland. Does your hat even say Oaklandish on the back?
Yeah, it's a brand from California. It's called
Shout them out.
Yeah, they're like very local. Like they support the community a lot back home.
Okay.
And I'm just like, I've always fucked with their design, so like I get a lot of shit from there.
I love
that. So you go back to Oakland?
Nah, I ain't been back to the crib since my sister got married in like 2016.
Wow.
It's different. Like it's hella different. Like my elementary school, like that shit got torn down and it's like a high-rise apartment buildings now. It's like, yeah, like after the tech boom moved in, a lot of the like housing situations around there just started getting real sticky. And so it was a lot of like quick, fast cash grabs. So a lot of the culture in the area kind of got moved out and moved about. So like a lot of like what made the Bay like the Bay kind of got. Yeah.
So you grew up there. You were born in
Oakland, and raised,
in Oakland, and then Minnesota's home now.
It's home.
That's dope. Oh my God. Okay. I forgot real quick before we dive into this amazing conversation. Today, it's called Eat and Talk. So we got some amazing tres leches cake, which is Biscoff and cookies and cream. Shout out to That Balloon Girl, aka Samaya, for sponsoring today's episode. I'm not trying to be biased, but I think she won the cake wars. It's one of my favorite cakes.
I'm gonna let you guys know when I try it.
Yeah. So we're definitely going to get into that. But okay, back to you. I wanted to talk about, so you were born in the Bay Area? I didn't know that. I thought you were just raised there.
No, I was born and raised.
Wow. Okay. So, a lot of us Somalis were refugees. Okay. We're straight up immigrants. And I want to know, like, what it was like for you, actually being born, not just in America, but born in a substantially, like, predominantly white sort of, or is it a white area? I don't really know. Yeah. It's not a white area. Okay. So so tell us about, because I'm from Minnesota. I don't know anything about the Bay Area. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
very interesting.
It's kind of, like the Bay is very like multicultural, but like, it's not a lot of white folks out there.
Okay.
It's like, you got a lot of Asian folks, you got a lot of Mexican folks, you got a lot of black folks. But yeah, it's like...
How about Somalis? East Africans?
Nah, there's like a good amount of Somalis in San Jose, but like I firmly believe if the train don't go there, it's not the Bay. Which is definitely shots.
I heard that.
San
Shots
Jose
fired.
Not the Bay.
How about Cameroonians?
Nah, bro.
How about Liberians?
Nah, bro. Y'all out in Texas, though. I went to college out in Texas, and it was like heavy West Africans in Texas.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
I really didn't know that. I thought it was all white.
That reminds me of like that. What was that one song? The Decatur song where it was like, or no, the Atlanta song where it was like, where she was like, Decatur's not Atlanta.
Oh, yeah.
She just started dropping all them places.
I mean, it's
in
just
Georgia.
It's like, bro, there's a whole train that says Bay Area Rapid Transit. So like, if the Bay Area Rapid Transit don't go to your shit, it's not the Bay Area.
Okay, well, you've heard it here, y'all. It's not the Bay Area. Yeah. But yeah, so talk a little bit about like how it was like for you growing up, and I guess like a predominantly mixed culture area, being one of the like few East Africans. How did you come? I guess my question is like, how did your culture still stick with you?
I mean, like, my family's still Somali. Like, you ain't, lights are off, like, street lights are on. What the hell are you doing outside? Like, so you got to be at the crib for the most part. And, like, it's definitely a lot of family coming through.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of family at the house. So that's, like, who you're mainly interacting with. It was like, yeah, I don't like. We rarely spoke English at the house because like my grandma who raised me, she like never learned English out of spite.
That was my grandma too. That was my year too. She refused. That was my year too.
Years. She's like, bro, I don't need to learn this. Like I lived a happy life.
I'm good.
I don't need to learn it now.
I'm good. That's I feel
she
her.
Was like mainly raised me, so because of that, there wasn't really like. And it wasn't too hard because like San Jose is only like 30 minutes away, so it's still easy to kind of just like go down, and then like all the Somalis are like concentrated in like 2 apartment buildings.
Yeah.
So like,
you guys had like a mini cedar thing going on in the apartments.
Yeah, it was like something in Chenoweth. I don't remember what the other one was called. Yeah. It's like it's 2 apartment complexes where like damn near the whole Somali community is at, and then there's like a big ass masjid too. That's okay. I definitely just cussed while describing a masjid. That's a choice. It was a very large masjid out in Santa Clara called MCA, and that's where like a lot of the community events were happening too. So it was like it wasn't really difficult to stay in touch with the community if you wanted to, but it was also like it was dope because it was like that. You feel me?
I like that.
I can drive to go see the folks
if I want to. Yeah. It was like you had the choice. You weren't stuck with them. I love that. Yeah. That's awesome. So
I love my people.
Yeah. Shout out to our people. I
like from over there.
Hey, what you mean from over there? Okay, we'll talk about that. So tell me, obviously, like the way I met you was like through art, and I heard your spoken word and like your poetry. So how did you kind of get into that?
Yeah, I've always talked too much. I was always like a little kid who like talked too much.
I like your energy though, so I can tell.
That's love.
Yeah,
I like energy.
But yeah, so I would always like kind of get into like weird. I don't know. I've always been someone who like, if an opportunity comes up, like take it. You feel me? So like there was a lot of like opportunities that came up early to like have opportunities to like perform. And then there's like a huge like poetry like infrastructure in the Bay Area through this organization called Youth Speaks. And they would like go from like high school to high school and like do workshops and whatnot. And something that like I've always been a firm person about is like, we got to stop putting corny people as like youth leaders. Dang, right?
Period.
Oh, Thank you, bro. Because it's like,
thank you for saying that. I agree.
Honesty. We got to stop putting corny.
It is.
And like the people that would like come to like do the workshops are people that I was like, oh, you're actually cool. Like I can like see things in your personality that I would like aspire to learn. And so it was just really engaging to kind of like get into it. And there was just like a creative element in that I appreciated, that like music always felt too structured. And so I never was really a person that like wanted to do music because it just felt a little too formulaic.
Yeah.
But like poetry just kind of expanded the like means of what could be done. And then I was also like, if 10,000 people are doing music and only like 100 people over here are doing poetry, I'm gonna stand in the shorter line. So it's like, let me find, let me find this out, and like let me figure this out, and like let me figure out how this can like turn over to different parts.
Did you ever meet E40?
Huh?
E40?
E40.
There's millions of people in the Bay Area, bro. There's millions of people out there, bro. Like
Guilford, what do you think? Just gonna run into E40 at Coke?
I feel like E40 would have been doing something for the Bay. He
does. He out here.
Represents the Bay.
1,000%. He's out there doing like community shit. But like, I don't know, bro.
No, I love that you brought up the whole community aspect, because that's something that like we touched base on before, is that you're big on community. So what I want to know, like I want to hear your opinion, like what does it take to lead a community?
To listen. That's that's really most of what it is. It's like half the times folks like come up with this shit in a back room somewhere and then go out and try to sell it to people so that they can feel as though like they were the ones that led people to freedom, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like it's so backwards, because there's so many individuals that are out here that like you would think stand for like liberation and like stand for community, but if you really just like kind of scratch the surface a little bit, it very much seems like they're much more interested in like having influence than they're interested in like being liberated. And if they can't be the person that like drives us to freedom, then they will stand in front of like whatever progress that is, because it wasn't their idea. You know? And so that's why it's like it takes listening, because it ain't about you.
Yep. Absolutely.
It ain't never been about you. And like, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think like more leaders have to be in like the age group for other people to listen to them? Like, let's say someone is older talking to a bunch of young kids. Do you think those kids will listen to that older person, or do they want to listen to someone that is in that age group?
See, I think that there's like a delineation between like elders and like old niggas, right? And like, there's definitely like a bunch of old people out here, you feel me?
Yeah.
That like have aged and like, oh, do your thing, right? But I don't consider you an elder. Like an elder like knows the language of like the younger people, you feel me? Because they're tapped in with them, and they're taking like an active role in raising them. So therefore, like the youth and their language is a byproduct of what the elders are teaching because they're tapped in, you know. And I think that there's like a lot of people that have been given the stamp of being an elder that actively like silence the voice of the people that are like elders in practice.
Elaborate.
That is, I see where you come from, but yes, elaborate for. I agree though. Yeah.
So what do you?
I'm trying to like phrase it in the ways that I can still be employed after this.
Listen, I don't think people listen to, because we done said a lot of things. I talked a lot of shit.
That sound good.
But yeah, keep it safe. Be safe though. Be safe.
I'm sorry.
Be safe.
These internet sleuths be sleuths.
Yeah.
Because you said
line.
there's elders that have been stamped that don't relate to the youth, correct?
Yeah, there's a difference between elder and older person. I see where you're coming from on that, because the elders essentially also are the ones who raised and planted seeds in the older generation as well.
Okay.
You know, so like it's like the elders have the actual like knowledge, whereas older people are the ones who, I want to use the term educate. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense.
That makes sense now.
You understand what I'm saying? Does that sound kind of like...
I'm pretty sure the dude who... Actually, no, I know for a fact. The dude who set up Fred Hampton definitely reached an old age. Mm-hmm. Is he elder?
Yeah.
Thankfully, he took himself out, but like, hey, is that an elder or is that an old person?
Yeah. That's an older person.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's an older person. But no, that's interesting. As one of my really good friends, shout out to Farah, she said this to me the other day and it really like stuck with me. So she said there's people who are selfless, then there's people who are selfish, and then there's people who have self-interest. And the people who are the people who are selfless, she said, are the people who will take like their shirt off the back for you. They will do everything for you. They will give you food before they eat. They will do everything. But then how does that benefit them? You know, so they're kind of essentially putting themselves down and then they're raising other people up, but that's really not healthy. So there's those people. Then there's the selfish people who will take from you and keep taking from you and taking from you till you don't got shit left. And then there's the self-interested people, and those are the people who are meant to lead others, because those people like actually have experience. Either they went through the same thing that someone else went through, or you know, it's like they have some sort of like built-in emotional companionship with you, and it's a lot like more like intimate, and it's self-interest. They have like a self-interest, like, hey, I want to help you because I'm not going to do everything. Like, I'm not going to sacrifice my life for you, but I want to make sure like you get to Jannah with me, heaven. I want to make sure that you reach the top with me. I want to make sure you get money with me. Like, those are self-interested people. So that's kind of like something that I think would be a safe way to say it.
I firmly believe that like everyone's selfish, right? Like everyone's inherently selfish, right? And even if we look at the examples that you just talked about, right? The person that will like take their shirt off their back and like give it to the person, right? They do that because they want to be seen as the person who gives the shirt off their back, or like they have a vested interest in like seeing that other person's situation improve, right? Because it makes them feel good or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I think that oftentimes like we put like nuance on words that don't necessarily like fit it, right? And I think that the quicker people just like acknowledge the fact that yes, we're selfish people, you feel me? Then it takes a lot of the performance out of the shit.
Yeah.
Because, like, for me, I do community work because, like, I want to be able to walk around more comfortably. You feel me? I want, like, my nephews and nieces to like go to school more comfortably. And so because of that, like I'll do hours of community work, or like I'll go to the encampments and like help out or whatever, right? Because I understand that like the more that we solidify the conditions, especially the material conditions of like the most vulnerable people, the better everyone's quality of life becomes.
Yeah.
Right? So like those aren't selfless acts. Like I'm using y'all to like create my desire for there to be a more healthy and like cohesive community.
But I feel like then that's where the self-interest part comes in for you.
Okay,
you have that interest. No, I'm not judging you.
I'm not judging you, but just trying to see which
so
one you fall under.
I feel like that's where you would fall under, is because that what you just said right now, your nephews, yourself, you being comfortable, that's your self-interest.
For sure, but I think that there's like for sure. Oh yeah.
But I want to actually go back to like the listening part, because that was kind of something I took away from that you're saying that a good leader or a good community have to listen to the leader. But what makes you think the youth don't listen? Like what prevents the youth from listening to their leaders?
I'm more concerned about what prevents the leader from listening to the youth.
Okay.
Like I don't like that's authority got to be bottom up. It's not top down.
Okay.
And the more that like we continue to just put these authority figures as these like holier than thou people, right? Especially like in like Muslim communities, religious communities, like that I've ever been around. There's this built-in like desire to equate authority with like piety. Right?
That's true. I think that's why
culture, in general, it's like, but it's a thing of like, no, God gave this person authority, so that's why they have it. Right? Whereas, like, nah, bro, the job application gave them that authority. You feel me? And, like, yes, like, God gave them all of the things that, like, did all that. Cool. You feel me? But there's also, like, that authority's not real. You feel me? Like, and so there's a lot of these positions of quote unquote leadership that are really just, like, not effective. Like, how many times can Jacob Fry stand in front of, like, basic fucking things that people need to do, right? Like stand in full front of it if he wasn't the one that created the shit, right? And then as soon as he's able to like flip the narrative close enough, then start doing exactly what the people told him in the beginning. You feel me? That's not leadership. That's clown shit.
Say it
right?
again.
Like man stood in front of bro stood tooth and nail. So many of these quote unquote leaders, right, stood tooth and nail about question too, that would have brought the police department within city purview and like united it in the same way that the fire department is. It would have taken like a public health centered approach to public safety, which motherfuckers have been screaming about for decades, right? But instead of doing that, he waits until question 2 loses, because it would have been a power thing on him that he wasn't able to be the one to stamp it, right? And then now start to create reforms that'll bring the police within the city purview under like silly ass.
I wish I could like have language. Like talk more about that, because a lot of the people watching it are gonna be a little bit confused, but.
But that's what I'm saying.
No,
bro.
Most Minnesota people are agree with that part, because like we were all front line and we felt the same way.
Nah, so. But they do that. It's purposeful, and that's how capitalism functions, right? We're so busy trying to like make our bills that like niggas don't have the time to realize how intricately they're getting played.
How they're getting played.
Is it because of like? Do you think that like these so-called leaders throw distractions, and that's why like people are like blinded? Because I feel like the response time from the community sometimes is like
it's too long.
Yeah, you know what I mean,
bro. Like, because niggas is tired, bro. Like, you have a new like nationwide calamity that happens every 2 weeks. Like, how often can like people come out? You feel me? And it's like, bro, like y'all are doing the barest of bare ass minimums, bro.
That's so true.
Like the barest of bare ass minimums, and know the right thing to do, but it's like, yeah, but that's gonna make me look bad in like this way, or this way, right? Yeah, and it's like, yeah.
So why are we electing these people every same time?
Exactly.
Like, that's what I want to know.
Nah, but it's also like, it feels good to disengage.
Yeah.
You feel me? It feels good to disengage. And a lot of these white folks run around like talking vote, vote, vote. I'm going to vote harder.
And when you say it feels good to disengage, do you just mean in the leaders part or the community part?
Community part. Mm-hmm. Like, man, fuck these niggas. I'm going home.
Yeah. Eventually, just quit.
Eventually, bro. Like, I'm going to the crib, bro. Like, I'm going to go play the game. Like, y'all doing a lot. Like, it's natural. I understand.
You're right, and we're tired.
We're not these storybook ass revolutionaries that are not inherently real people. Mm-hmm. Like, we mythologize Huey, we mythologize Fred Hampton, we mythologize all these people so that if we're not doing that, then it's not real. Like, no, bro, it's okay to be tired and want to like go smoke a blunt and play 2K. Go do that so then you can come back out later on.
I don't understand why he didn't want to get fired.
And reset.
You feel me? Like, come back fulfilled, right? But I don't remember what the fuck the train of thought was with that shit.
I don't.
But with all this
being
said, what is your take? Do you see change after the George Floyd stuff?
Nah, bro. White people are fucking great at their job.
Damn, this nigga. They
are really good at like doing nothing and studying the fuck out of the nothing that they do.
Yeah.
They will bring you 13,000 statistics about why we should do something and be like, well, job done. And it's maddening, bro. It's maddening, bro. Like, they spent so long diagnosing all these problems, but meanwhile, like, won't show up to none of the actions that we need them to do, but best believe they outside the Dave Chappelle show.
Yeah. They won't write the bills
best
that we
believe
asked.
They write outside the Chappelle concert, right? And it's not to say, fuck Chappelle. I'm sorry, like, I've loved dude from, like, I've loved everything from as a kid. Like, he was so integral to, like, how I was as a performer and, like, how I go about, like, timing and, like, stage presence and so much, taught me so much, right? But it's chose the weirdest hill to die on, right? But at the same time, is the smoke that we're giving him productive? No.
Right. We can utilize our energy.
We need you to be out here talking about the rent control bill that passed last year, that they're purposely slow walking, right? So that developers can push as many contracts as they need to push now before things are inked, or that they can start to push up. They can raise our rents this year and next year, so that once that hopefully 3% cap hits into place, you feel me?
I don't want to go into that because I feel like, because I was looking into it, I heard, don't they want to make it in the city so the city gets to decide if they want to raise the rent or not?
No, so it's no. So it's like, so with the rent control, which is actually like easily one of the most important bills that we've passed in like the last 30 years, right? Like, and it's because that was the number one thing that killed the Bay. They took our rent control in like the early 80s. So once Twitter and Facebook and everyone moved in,
taking the rent control from who though?
The landlords to the renters.
Okay.
Like, so it's like renters, like they're like landlords could raise rents to whatever they want, right?
So now the bill.
So then an apartment that was costing you $900 because Twitter, Facebook, and all of these high paying ass companies moved in. That $900 apartment is $2,500 the next year.
Yep, story of our lives.
Right, because there's no cap. It's the market, right? That's deciding what this is going to become. And that's how you lose culture, because now most of those companies that move to Texas, most of these companies that move to all these places, those buildings are sitting empty.
But isn't that what is happening in Minneapolis though?
It is, yeah, Minneapolis.
To an extent, because that's the thing. The language of the bill hasn't been passed yet. So we passed that we're going to do it, but the language hasn't been set. So we don't have the set percentages. That's why the developers are like having so many of these council members that'll just keep having meetings about shit and not actually do anything. You feel me? Because they want to continue to slow walk the process. St. Paul did it, and St. Paul has a very aggressive rent control structure that's ultimately going to be beneficial, and that's why you see St. Paul's able to like retain a lot of its culture, because developers ain't running this shit.
That's true.
But developers are fucking marionette stringing Jacob and all of his little cronies around. You got all these Somali dudes running around thinking like they're fake real estate moguls. You feel me? With these men's warehouse suits that don't fit. That's the shit.
You gonna get me in trouble, Farah.
I don't care, bro. I'll say it every 10,000 times, bro. If you're a real estate mogul, at least get your fucking suit tailored. At the very least, bro, you could sell houses, at least get your shit fit. and like unbutton that damn bottom button. Please.
Oh my
please,
God.
if there's anything that I can say to like LLC Somali Twitter, unbutton your fucking bottom stoop button.
You good, fam?
Yes, I'm good, bro. It's bothersome.
He's been meaning to say
yeah, bro.
No, that's actually the funniest thing ever.
I've never noticed.
Because I have. I see what he's saying. That's just, I never heard someone say it out loud. I feel like we all think it. That's crazy.
But anyway, the point being, right? They run around here thinking that like that getting marionette string by all these developers that are really pulling the bag off of them, bro. It's so bothersome, bro. Like, how you got a 3-button suit and all 3 of them buttons is buttoned, bro? You 3 laughs away from hurting somebody, bro. Like, that's not okay. It's not okay, bro.
Like,
no.
You're not supposed to.
It's okay in high school.
I know.
You're 16.
Yeah.
It's okay in high school when you're 16. They're 36, bro. Like, at some point, somebody should have like taken you. No one loves you because somebody should have taken you to the side. I'm like, hey, bro, like, just let that bottom button go. Just go ahead, just let that joint go, bro.
That's hilarious.
But the point being with that, right, is like the developers are essentially just running like legislators
like crazy
because they're able to drum up this fear campaign. Right, to try to say like crime is just so unruly. Crime is this, crime is that. Right, where our crime statistics ain't no different than any other city.
I think that's something that people don't understand.
Exactly, exactly. Because if you look at the actual numbers, right, look at the number of rounds that in comparison to like how many rounds were like discovered of like bullets fired in like 2019 versus how many rounds were discovered last year, bro. It's like a 2,000% difference. It's because all these niggas got these switches. So people are just shooting indiscriminately, and that's happening across the country. It's not just here.
Yeah, that's
you feel me? But instead of doing something about trying to figure out who the ones that are manufacturing these sears and like how to hold them accountable, they're just gonna put up 10,000 shot spotters and like make Crime Watch Minneapolis Twitter pages.
Well, they want that because they want to highlight the black on black crime, and it's like it's like how they drop crack in the 80s. They're dropping these annuitions into the communities.
It's even simpler than that, though. Not to cut you off, they just put like over $1 billion of investment into the North Loop. Right? Where's one of the largest black communities?
North Minneapolis, right next to it. Yeah.
It's what they do in every major city. You scare the fuck out of everyone that's living in that neighborhood because newsflash, black people are also concerned about their safety. You feel me? So if you tell them that there's like a fucking war zone happening around, they're gonna move their ass to Brooklyn Park.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you see how much houses are in Northside right now? $60,000 for like a 2-bedroom. Like, it's crazy.
For the Lolo. And then they finish developing the North Loop. That corridor for the light rail now gets moved over to West Broadway, which they ain't doing until the niggas leave. You feel me?
Yeah.
And then, oh God, and then
true.
like once that shit move, because now they gonna let all of these black kids on West Broadway have easy access to a diner.
Yeah,
nah, bro, they too scared for that.
Yeah. So
they gonna wait until that happens, push that forth. Now North Minneapolis is gonna be called NOMO. They're gonna call that joint No Mo, bro. And No Mo finna be popping.
No, it's yeah.
No Mo.
Because right now, that's what I kind of like. When I was reading about the initiative for gentrification, I thought that Lake Street was gonna be gentrified. So like I was like over here like chasing, making sure like, but I realized they kind of took the focus from Lake Street. They said, all right, like whatever, you do you with Lake Street, but they really took that North Minneapolis initiative and that's where they're gonna gentrify it.
Well, it's because Lake Street is the white people's like cultural zoo. You feel me? It's like they go live in Lake of the Isles or like over behind the fucking Bidet Makaska.
Yeah.
And they're safe ass like guarded high walled communities.
Boats and everything.
And then when they want to like go see a culture, you feel me? They're like go get a burrito, right? They'll like drive their ass on the Lake Street.
Yeah.
You feel me? And then zoom up out of there as soon as they can. Right over to the shit. There's like because it's like it's cute to them.
Yeah.
It's cute.
Facts.
We definitely are.
No, it's facts. That's actually super true. No, it's crazy. No, so to kind of go back to
You say you're missing out on this.
The cake, I know you hitting that. That looks really good. So I kind of want to talk a little bit about, and then Gilbert, like you can engage with it too. But I want to talk about the Somali community a little bit.
Bet them niggas don't like me already. So what's up? Oh man, a lot of folks. Yeah.
After this, they won't like.
There's yes and no.
No, because listen, like, you know, I love our Somali community, but like, why are we so divided? Like, what is going on?
I got no problem with no divisions. You feel me? It's just like I start getting itchy when like niggas come around saying like I'm not black, I'm Somali. Right? Or like, what do you mean? I am Arab, right? Like I
had a conversation with that about
get the fuck out of here, bro. What are you, khaki?
Yeah. No, I think that comes from, honestly, parents, because I was arguing with my dad today. So did you see that TikTok? I think it's in every community, because I've seen Hispanic people post it. I've seen West Africans post it. There's this little prank, the WhatsApp prank. You seen that? So you send your parents a picture of like something. So like first there was a food one where you'd send them like nasty ass, like disgusting food that obviously you would never eat. And then you send your parents a message like, oh mom, my friend made this, like what do you think? And then they send voice notes like inna lillahi wa inna, or like, you know. So there's one going around where in the Somali community where girls are sending their parents, like mom or dad, a picture of like Burna Boy or an African American. And they're like, hey mom or dad, I met this guy and he wants to get married. He's Muslim. He's this and this and that. Like just a fake story, a narrative. And the parents go up. They're like, how dare you? Like, you know, like this and that. Like he's he's black. And like they keep saying that. And it's like, well, you know, so that, I feel like it's something that's passed down. That's
for sure. I mean, it's a byproduct of colonization. You feel me?
Yeah.
And like, that's why I'm not going to ever individually castigate like the people that do it. And I'm always going to like talk about like the structure that does it.
But Gilbert, you have your opinion too. Gilbert actually states that he is not black, he's African. So there's
and you have all rights.
And I'm the opposite.
Yeah. No, you have all the rights in the world to be wrong, bro.
Yeah.
You have all the rights in the world to be wrong, bro. That's okay. That's okay, bro. Your delusion is yours. You feel me? That's all you.
But like, where does it stem from? Like
colonization.
Yeah.
It's because you're taught to hate the other, and as soon as you're able to slightly distance yourself from it, then you're like, nah, like it's not that. But when like, I don't know, it's silly. I love my people at the end of the day. I'm just very frustrated with like how often the Somali community gets used as a political football.
Yeah.
Where like our values are whatever X white person needs our values to be in their speech, and how often like we play into that shit. You feel me?
Absolutely.
And like the more that because we continuously think that like proximity to whiteness is gonna somehow like lead to power or like lead to influence or whatever it is. I don't know. But it's real frustrating to see like so many of the people that we put in leadership positions that willingly like play the fuck out themselves.
Yeah.
So how do we change that mindset then?
Huh?
So how do we change that dividing? Like, how do we change that? Or how do we start to change people from not being so divided?
How do we feel collective as one is what
I
I'm
just
saying.
need like all of our African capitalists to like open their eyes, bro, and realize capitalism won't save you. I just pray. I pray all of my suited brothers open their eyes one day and realize that like 3 buttons, 2 buttons, no buttons. You feel me? Putting the suit on is not advocacy. You ain't done nothing all day just because you put a suit on. You feel me? It's like the performative shit that like it's doing good over feeling good. You feel me?
Actually, I don't know if I'm wrong about this thought. So, does the community give the individual the power, or does the individual gain the power from the community?
The individual gains power from the community every time.
So, sorry, do you have something to say?
No.
I was just thinking, so how progressive do you think our Somali politicians are?
Again, because like
this man about it.
Not even the button in the suit, bro. It's like because we say we trick ourselves into thinking that like these pretend authority things, like authority is a thing that's given from God. You feel me? And so there's a lot of people that I say like, "Hey, boy," like it's embarrassing to like go stand in front of the people, right? Or like how many people that no matter how much good Ilhan does, they'll never support her because she walked in like the gay pride parade, which is the silliest shit I've ever heard in my life. You feel me? Like no one has brought more money to our city and like brought more good to our city than Ilhan has done in a very long time, right? But like our community just won't like fully stand behind because she marched in a pride parade.
Are you serious?
Swear to, and it's just silly shit like that, bro.
That's why we.
It's silly shit like that because it's a good performance sticker. Right? It's a performance sticker that we can stand behind because it's easy for us to say, like, no, we don't support gay people, so, like, we're not going to support, or whatever it is, bro, and it's just dumb.
This goes back to the thing that you said about disconnecting or whatever earlier. We're so quick to, deuce, I'm out. I'm going to go rest.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. Yeah, bro, I just kind of, I like to be dolo. But it's just, like, I don't know, like,
So I want to know, like, did you get culture shock when you came to Minnesota because you moved from California, and then all of a sudden you see, because like we're you know
the Bay energy,
but like here's the thing, like with Minnesota though, so like Somalis in Minnesota, like people from what I've like when I talk to friends who aren't from Minnesota but who are Somali, this is what they say, they're like, you guys are on crack, and what they mean by that is they're like, your good is really good and then your bad is really bad. Like that's the narrative that I hear. Do you agree?
I just feel like we just don't, just people ain't putting their arms around each other no more, bro.
Yeah.
Like just folks ain't putting their arms around each other. And it's like, how is there so many of these people that walk around like with their fake tough guy shit on, right? That like it don't have nothing but but like for real though, bro. Like half these kids that are walking around perked the fuck out. They really just wanted to smoke some weed, right? But they couldn't go smoke because if they came back smelling like weed, they just did heroin.
Yeah,
you feel me? And so because the perk, you can do that shit on the low. Now you got a debilitating addiction that you can't just stop doing, because if you stop doing that shit, you're throwing up all day.
Yeah, we have an episode coming up on that. Yeah,
and so it's so much of that shit.
There's a lot of that going on.
But it's so much of that. So it's like, and then there's no guidance that like your first generation, so you haven't seen what happens to the next generation after they fall down these pitfalls. So you trying to navigate it for yourself. And then once you get here, you're told like, nah, these are the only ways that you really can get on. You feel me? So like you got so many of these crash dummy niggas out here with no foresight into any of the street shit that they're doing, dropping like flies, because at the end of the day, like their elders ain't putting their arms around them.
So it all starts from inside the house.
It starts from inside the community, bro. It starts from inside the community, bro. Like what I love, I went to HBCU, bro, and what I loved about it is it was just like you didn't need to know someone; it was love automatically. You feel me? And I think that very much still exists within our community. We're like, nah, you don't even know. Like, there's so many people that are out here. Like, I'll have a 30-minute conversation with them. I don't even know their name yet. You feel me? And it's just off the strength of like, oh, there's these things that are in, like, we have these things in common. You feel me? So it's just easy to like flip that relation. But ultimately, like, I just don't feel like the communal mentorship is really there. And I feel like it can happen. You feel me? But there's so few people, and it goes back to like colonization, right? Because there's so few people that have figured out a way to not just survive, but to live, that we put all this undue pressure on them to now, oh, you figured it out, now you got to teach everybody. When like, them niggas is tired too, bro. They might just want to smoke a blunt and play 2K. And it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay, but it's not. I don't know.
Do you feel like Gen Z is like gonna kind of tire?
Oh, them niggas is fucked, bro.
Yeah.
Oh my god, them niggas.
You don't think they're gonna be the ones to change?
Nah, because I just had like this like thought process yesterday. I was like, bro, with all of these like charter schools, private schools, online schools, home schools, like there's no base reference of like right anymore.
The funny
because everyone's teaching a little bit different.
I was actually
so many things get a little older, bro.
I was actually helping a principal today at work, and he told me like 10 around like from, she said 10 to 15 years from now there won't be any public schools. Bro, that's how bad it is.
Nah, it's because there's so many of these people, like, because they're trying to privatize that shit, bro. And you got so many of these people that are walking around, like, these Don Samuels duck-ass niggas that are walking around, bro.
You good, fam?
I hate that camp so much, bro. Because they know better.
Yeah.
Like, they know what they're doing is, like, to benefit them and not the community, bro. And they'll just do it. Because like at the end of like it's just bro, I got
charter school.
Do you think they're easier to brainwash this generation of kids? Are they easier to brainwash, or are they?
It's not brainwashing. It's they're being raised at the least dollar possible.
Because I feel like sometimes they're a bit like extreme in a way.
Because they realize this is some bullshit.
Yeah.
they like, yo, this is some bull. Like, nah,
Yeah.
bro. They realize they know they're getting played.
Yeah,
bro.
they do. They do. Because they're like, my siblings didn't go through this.
Yes,
like,
bro.
my
Like,
parents.
nigga, I'm 16. I'm trying to learn my times tables.
Yeah.
Like, bro. Like, it's just it's just so much of like we trying to just get people the least amount for the cheapest amount, and then are wondering why shit's going wrong.
But it's supposed to be, I guess.
And they don't pay our teachers.
Yeah, that's what.
They don't pay our teachers enough at all.
It's like, bro, it's like building a fucking building on Kleenex boxes, but making sure the outside is painted really nicely and being surprised when it crumbles in 30 minutes. Bro.
That was his defense too. Was like COVID kind of slightly opened the door of how messed up the school
systems were, but then they didn't even. It just everything.
It showed how underfunded it was, because then that's really what it is, bro. And it's just so sad to see how much like cops can now go buy drones, but teachers can't still get that shit, bro. It's like, come on, bro. How does that make any sense?
And another thing too that he mentioned too was the fact that all the schools are they're competing against each other, which makes no sense, because I guess one district can say they're going to pay money to this district, so the family move over there instead of being like, okay, we're going to pay all the school district the same amount. Now this district over here is mad because they moved to this district because the district is...
So if we stop having these charter schools finesse people, right, and take money for doing the bare minimum of work, then that's more money for the districts to use, less fighting that happens between them.
Schools are also being gentrified too, because if you notice, like a lot of schools, like there will be a school that's predominantly more white than black, and a lot of people were like, oh, I want to sign my kid up for that school because apparently that's where the better education is at. And then the school with like majority black kids, like apparently they don't pay the teachers well enough, or like, you know, it's like
that's across the country. That's because schools are based on neighborhoods. So the more the neighborhoods are redlined, the more the schools are going to be segregated.
And because the neighborhoods and everything are just like slowly failing because rent has increased, and it's like people are just suffering gas prices and everything like that. Can't pay for school supplies. I mean, a lot of school lunches are now becoming free, but like I feel like that also brings more issues to our public school systems as well, because now there's a lot more segregated schools and a lot more defunded teachers, as you could call it. So
being a parent, what do you think about the school district?
It depends. I hate the school districts, to be honest. And I feel bad for my kid because half his life the pandemic hit, and then like I have an 8-year-old, so when he was 5 is when the pandemic hit. And then he was homeschooled, and then, or not homeschooled, but he was what was called distant learning, and his teacher was going through it. Like, we turn on the iPad, she'd be like, Mike, Sam, look at the camera, stop playing with it. Like, she was going through it. Like, I felt bad. And why though? Because like, at least like me, like sometimes I was home, so like I could sit next to my kid and like make sure he focused. But like, parents are working. Like, they can't sit next to their kid and be like a teacher and make sure he's picking up his pencil. So it was just chaos. So when they took their tests, their annual tests, like his teacher was a teacher for 25 years. She was like, this is the worst scores I have seen in my 25 years of teaching. Wow. And because they're behind on everything because of the pandemic, just the rides, like everything like pulled them back. And then teachers are really not getting paid. So teachers are going on strike. There was 3 weeks. That's another delay. It's like they barely went to school. So I think it sucks. I feel bad for them. That's my opinion. Yeah.
What's your opinion?
I think he said his piece enough.
But back to you though. So what do you look up to? Who inspire you to be the person you are?
You.
My grandma, for sure. So that's the greatest shit talker I've ever met in my life.
I guess that shit talker.
Bro, she'll cook you effortlessly, bro. Like, effortlessly. It's great because, like, my grandma's in hospice right now, and I went to go visit her a couple weeks ago. And, yeah, still got it.
I ain't gonna lie. I think Somali grandparents can talk shit.
Oh, yeah, they do.
What?
They built us.
Right.
We got skin because of them.
Descriptively, bro.
I think
Like, it's not just like a little passive one, bro. Like, nah, bro, I'm coming for your soul.
I love it.
Toughen up. Make it on your way. Like, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And then my mom, that's my G.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, my grandma, my mom, that's like the two people that like built me, for sure.
So I want to go back real quick back to poetry. We kind of like just started going discussing and everything like that. So a little bit about poetry. And you kind of mentioned how you got started and everything like that. What's like, who are a couple of your favorite artists, like poets?
Michelangelo.
Isn't that a painter? Okay. I think you meant Maya Angelou.
I was trying to confuse him.
Oh, okay. I got confused.
Saul Williams, for sure. He was like one of the first ones that got me writing. Amir Sulaiman as well. And then like, yeah, it's like the YouTube rabbit holes of poetry when I was like in high school. And then like as I got older, I just started to discover like Gwendolyn Brooks, who is incredible. It's like the way that she's able to like make like 2 words be a paragraph, and like just that it's perfect. Like there's like that just and envelops such a like huge thought in a very simple phrase. It's so difficult to do, and I love that a lot.
Was anybody in your family a poet? Because like
my uncle was like a Somali singer.
Okay,
and like he was one of the first ones that like made performance tangible for me.
Okay.
Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, but no, like I said, my uncle, his name is Hassan Adin Samatar, and he's like pretty like well known.
Oh my God, that's your uncle? I love him. My son says that my dad and him are twins. So every time like we have him on the screen, like we're playing him, he's like, oh, well, like grandpa, which is my dad. So he's like a very loved, and he's like staple he's just amazing.
I just loved, because like when I was a kid, we would just be going to random ass weddings of like people I don't know y'all getting married, but he's performing there. So like we finna just go see our uncle. Like
his uncle's so goated. He's and that's true. Like, you know, singing is a form of poetry. Like we're known as the nation of poets. It's gubba.
It's how he performs. Like his performance is what I learned from. It was like bro's so animated, like when he's on stage, and it's like it's very conversational. So like you can still develop a rhythm in like how you're going, but also still like make the audience feel like it's like a conversation. Yeah, like they like by the end of your set, then they should be able to like respond to you.
Yeah.
And I was just like a thing. Like as a little kid, I would just be sitting like at the shit, just watching him perform. And I was just really ill to learn from.
That's super. That's a great person to learn from.
Do you think? Because for me, I kind of feel like poet had a high place back then, and then it kind of died down. But then now it's coming back. You have the same feeling about that? Because I know poet used to be like Kendrick Lamar. When Kendrick Lamar came out, poet was popular, and then it kind of took a break. People like there used to be like poet clubs and all that stuff, and then it kind of took a break. But then now I kind of feel like poet is coming back into the scene.
Like spoken word, you mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's also like poetry's always kind of just been its own little niche thing. You feel me? And like within the like craft, like it may not have like lived in like the mainstream, but it rarely ever does. But I think like the craft in and of itself, like it's been strong for a minute. Like it's been strong for a minute. I think that there was this like era between like 2012 to I want to say like 2017, where it was just booming. It was booming from like 2012 to like 2017.
Because I know like,
and even up until the pandemic, really, because like pandemic just shut everyone down.
That's true.
Had, like, no
great way to express.
Because I know in like African nights in colleges, there used to be poet sections.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, I guess the pandemic.
Because the pandemic. Oh my God, that shit took.
How did it affect you?
Man, because it was the first year. Like after I had left school, I was still working, but I had like finessed my schedule to where like I could start like getting back on the road. and like doing some shows again, and I had booked out like the rest of the year, and then 2 weeks before like my first show,
Boom.
lockdown.
Wow.
So I had lost all my shows that year, and I was like, bruh, that was definitely like, this year was not supposed to be that year, but I think it was dope because it let me kind of like,
That's good.
yeah, I got to like, I don't know, it was a range of emotions that like I'm not about to get into. But eventually like I just stopped completely for a while. And then there's this group, Tangible Collective, out here, run by my two really close friends, Ricky and Zania. And they literally were like, nigga, nope. And just like made me make content again. And I think that like that reframing of like doing it like with a community, especially like a community that like preaches horizontal networking, we often just learn from each other. That shit was dumb valuable.
That's amazing to hear. Can we get a little taste? Because you guys, you don't understand, like his poetry is just amazing. And you know,
But where do people find your content then?
a lot of you just gotta find him.
Essentially right now it's like at a
I have a lot of different friends who are in poetry. Like you guys have met, like Aisha, she's amazing, and
Shout out to her and her book.
Abdurrahman, my boy Sharif. Like I have a lot of different poet friends, you know, and they're all unique in their own way, and they all give me like different emotions. But Farah is like, he is just, I think he really like wakes me up. Like, so when I first heard him, I didn't know. I remember he came on stage and I was like, okay. I was like, well, and I'm so used to like, woman poets. So, and the other person who was performing that day was a woman too. So I don't know why I was like, okay, like I was expecting his energy to match hers, but the moment and it wasn't even just like how loud he can get, it was like what he was talking about was different, because everybody talk about something different. They talk about love, they talk about pain, family, but like he was like talking about some real shit, and I was like, whoa. I don't know if other people were connecting, but like me, I was just like, this dude is fire. So I hope you can share something with us today and give a little bit of give a taste.
People I don't know, like, because okay, so I did the whole like, nah, this is how I'm gonna like make my bag and shit, right? And I hated myself, bro. Like, it's just because you're basically selling yourself to it just felt weird, bro, for like something that is inherently personal to be like a way that I gotta eat my food and like pay my rent. It was just like I was not cool with how that I was making, so I just found different ways to like sustain myself and not just do this shit for like, if I want to.
That's how it should be. I feel like that's how it should be.
Something you love.
Yeah, something you love doing.
It's like more so like, I don't do shit that I don't do shows that I don't want to do anymore.
Oh, wow. That's powerful. Wow.
That's good. So you want to perform something for us?
So you back on the road now after the pandemic, or you just decided you're just going to do it when you want to do it?
Yeah, it's like sort of. Like what I do now is like, when I'm out on work trips, I'll like hit up some people in like whatever city I'm going to for a work trip and like find a stage, like at least like one night that I'm out there.
Okay, that's
and
dope.
just like I'm like, oh, I'm in a new city, like let me, you feel me? And also it's like a little extra bread while I'm there, so it's nice.
Have you gotten a lot of support in Minnesota?
I mean, Minnesota's a hub. Like it's super easy to like, it's super easy to make relationships out here. Yeah.
Family state.
Yeah. Awesome.
Are we ready for?
Yes, go ahead. Give us a taste. Eat and talk exclusive.
No, for real, like y'all are gonna be the first to hear this.
This is the first one.
Oh, really?
Exclusive.
So honored.
Still working on it. We're still working on it. But so I'll do this, and then I'm gonna get
do an NFT of this. Can we do an NFT of this?
I don't know anything about NFTs.
You don't know?
The sun rose.
One of one.
All right, let's listen.
All right.
So the sun rose. I am present and I am enough. And I am grateful. And I remind myself of this consciously. In those moments where I feel less than grateful, more days than I wish to admit are spent spectating myself, like I'm hovering somewhere near my body, but I can't quite find myself in myself, but still. What you supposed to do when the pull don't pull right? Meaning, I know that there is a current that is taking me somewhere, but I'm not quite sure if that somewhere is the right where. So is thrashing more preferable to moving with the calm water? I mean, what a performance this is. This pretend certainty. This cloak of armor I've meticulously crafted, stitched layers and layers of half-truths on a faulty foundation of self. I mean, the sun rose and I am present and I am enough and I am grateful. And I'm so grateful as I'm supposed to be. Thankful for breathing, for being, for the bare minimum. I mean, I'm doing it, right? Right, I'm doing it. I'm hiding behind just enough self-righteous selflessness to strike that tricky balance of honor, right? But why is there shame in wanting more? No, wanting enough not to just get by, but to thrive, to affirm abundance, to lack. Because if I die tomorrow, if I die tonight, I'll rejoice in the community that I've crafted. I'll find solace in knowing that I left a lasting legacy of love, never having missed a chance to let my niggas know it. I love them deeply, but even still, I wish to worship and joy, to praise with ease, to have thanks enter each room before to thank the sun because it rose as it's supposed to and be present in it, all of its warmth and nourishment, to have enough and be full, thankful, helpful, peaceful, for I know this water will one day take me. I resigned myself to that truth long ago. So I treat myself every day above ground like it's extra credit. And these days I choose to thrash more, to move the current where I want it, to win cause I deserve it, to make timing right because I can. And one day we will see the splendor of the favors, and the favors, they are plenty. The Lord makes no mistake, and he placed me here and he kept me here to love hard. So which of the favors of your Lord will you deny? Yay, bones and shit. Man, this has been hella fun. I appreciate y'all a lot. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming, man. No, I had a great time.
Oh, you don't do it for a living?
No, I don't.
It's fun.
Yes, I do. It's a good time. It's quite enjoyable.
You're great at it. Isn't he great at it?
Yeah, I tell you, great at it.
Like, phenomenal.
I appreciate y'all.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, man, for coming.
This is the part where, like, after I perform, I go run away.
He just
Run away. You better tell people.
Listen, y'all.
Oh, you find
you
me.
do birthdays. You do
I
weddings.
don't do shit.
We were just saying, like, he's just everywhere. He does a little bit of everything. Yo, like, he's a community advocate. You know, he's an artist. Like, he knows his shit. So, thank you. Like, we need people like you out here. Thank you so much for coming. I always say, like, this is not a goodbye. Like, we're gonna have you come back because I know for sure, like, you are gonna bless this earth with something grateful and this generation, and inshallah, and we're gonna sit down and talk one day and just talk about how we made some moves and did some changes.
Hell yeah.
And look back at this video.
I gotta interview your ass next time.
Yeah, for sure. I'm down. Definitely. He should have a podcast. He's amazing. We're gonna let you eat. I'm about to eat. Because I couldn't even.
I'm finna see what's cracking.
Yeah. So anyways, eat and talk.
Leches.
We are out. Thank you.